It's like the silver proving ground thing. They didn't belabor it. They didn't say, no guys, no. Try it. People went, no, we can't do this. We struggle. And they didn't go, oh yeah, well, here's the tutorial. Here's the teaching. Here's the skills we need. They're like, cause they're simple. They're like, I mean, I guess
I get you.
There are people who might genuinely have trouble playing on those things, in which case, sure.
You can't design the entire game for them.
Yeah, you can't.
It's like, if you design Halo for people who can only do a Halo campaign in easy mode, Halo will be shit. No one will have fun in it.
Yeah.
So, why in World of Warcraft do we design everything other than raids, dungeons, and PvP to be asinine and brain dead?
Yeah, that removes any joy from the game. Basically, just please, there is beauty in your video game. Please try to show it. Stop hiding it away as if you're ashamed of it, because it's actually good.
Yeah.
Let people enjoy it without having to go to incredible lengths, or not even incredible lengths. Because I imagine earlier on when people were more socially engaged with the game, because it was out of necessity, because you sort of had to, and also it was a little bit more the default in the classic and TBC days. It was more the default. You logged on and talked to people.
Yeah.
It's a little less that way. So adapt for it properly. Adapt for it by putting things in place of that community, or in place of that need for community. Solve that problem yourself with the correct gameplay. It's like, in video games, a boss at its finest is designed to be the final test of a level. This is the super basics. Everything you learn in a level, whatever mechanics they give you, etc., the boss will test you on those.
Yeah.
It's in Metroid Prime. You pick up the grapple beam. Next boss, grapple thing. Grapple thing to get over the back of a shirt. Same with all of the Zelda games. And that is just so basically fundamental that actual thing needs to be in the game. You learn skills. You actually evolve as a player, not just as a character, as a player and a character. And then you're ready. You get tested. Look at that. You've got a goddamn video game.
You could have if you want to teach people that stuff, you could have, a class quest line.
Yeah.
Have your class or spec or whatever quest line that, it's only got a few stages as you hit particular leveling brackets. Yeah. But those are things where it's like, oh yeah, you go back to the Warrior Island and you've got a new little boss fight thing to do where, you kind of learn a few, whatever. We cannot keep on just World of Warcraft being designed to be completely brain dead outside of instance content.
Why does Exile's Reach not teach you how to interrupt? Why?
No, there's no excuse.
There is no excuse. Not all classes have an interrupt they can use regularly.
Okay, fair.
That's one excuse. And I saw someone on Reddit with the perfect thing. You can combine it, interrupt or dispel. There you go. Look, you've covered. Outside of I think that's everyone.
Right.
Everyone can either interrupt or dispel. So you go interrupt this. If it goes through, dispel it immediately or you're dead. Have fun. Look at that. People have learned the mechanic.
And you remember because it killed you if you didn't do it right.
Yeah, and they've learned in Exile's Reach when they're new.
Yeah.
They're provided a form of challenge.
Yeah, and look, this is a game where, because in Warlords of Draenor people complained about the silver proving ground, which is piss easy.
Yeah.
Some people complained about the silver proving ground, and it's as if because of that, they have just decided that their game could no longer have gameplay outside of dungeons and raids. And, maybe it's the sort of thing where the developers of this game, are people focused on dungeons and raids. I mean, certainly a bunch of the top brass are from, the Elitist Jerks forum and stuff. So we know they love their mythic raids and their high keys and stuff. But, what about the rest of the game? And it's that thing where I think it's very depressing to say that they should stay in their lane and stop doing these big, lofty experiments. Because there's a few comments in chat of people saying, well, I'd be bored if they didn't do experiments with every expansion. And I entirely agree with those people. But for me, it's just but those experiments have basically failed every time they've done them for the last multiple years. right now, should we not focus on the basics, on the health of the game, and more dungeons, more raids, more content, questing, narrative content with lots of rewards that's actually interesting to play, all of that stuff. Why don't we focus on those things instead of worry about conduit energy and Torghast stuff and
Yeah. So I'm going to go back and so everything I talked about there was in relation to dungeons and raids. That's how I framed it initially. But here's the real kicker. All of that can actually be applied to everything else in the game. So, because without all of those experiments, you immediately think, oh, well, we would have nothing. We would have nothing but dungeons and raids. But without spending all that energy on all of the other experiments, all that content, they can put that into the actual base. It's a case of they don't need to put on a big show for you if what you're going for is good.
Yeah.
It's like let the value of the product speak for itself instead of trying to go, oh, look, we've learned a new trick, we've learned a dance, look at us, we've got Torghast, yahoo, yay. It's like just
you must do it 2 times every single week.
Yeah.
Grind up your layer.
Yeah, but you just go, all right, here you go. Here is a scaling difficulty bit of content that we will provide for you by default. If towards the top end of that you get a little bit wrecked, say it scales in not literally by systems definitions, but in terms of difficulty and what's expected out of reaction time and ability to DPS and heal and tank, etc. If it actually went up to, here is your quest. It progresses from normal to heroic to mythic in terms of what they expect.
Yeah.
At some point you feel it goes, you know what, no worries. Do you want to try again or do you want to go back to normal? Do that. And then people who really don't want to do that, they go, I'm just here to see what happens to Tyrande the Night Warrior. I'll stick with normal. I don't really have time to play, or I don't, maybe someone's not like a big gamer in general. They play World of Warcraft because they love the story. That's perfectly fine. But make it, at least give them some sort of fun. And without all of those experiments, they'll have the energy to actually do that. Especially, I think someone said it in chat a second ago, but it's all the repetitive chore content. Yeah, it's if there was less repetitive chore content, it would make more room for noobs to try harder content so they could improve for stuff like Proving Grounds. Yes, Piece of Panic. You can...
They're terrified of that.
Because you can go in and do your world quests, and that takes you all goddamn day. Because you can, you spend 40 minutes on a slow Torghast run. You spend, 15 on the fastest one, but
Yeah.
If you spend 40 minutes on a Torghast run and then half an hour doing world quests, that's over an hour. That's a lot of time for a day. That's actually a decent amount of time for a week. So just remove all of the chores and let people actually experience harder content instead.
I don't think they feel like they can do that.
No. That's why they need to start at the very, very bottom and work right the way up.
Yeah. But look, the Silver Proving Ground was too much, and I think that says so much of what you need to know. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
That blows my mind. I don't know how you could fail a Silver Proving Ground.
But
apparently you can.
Yeah, no, I can imagine it.
Yeah.
And I can imagine the cases where it's justified, where someone is physically or mentally less capable. In which case, absolutely put an easy mode or put accessibility stuff in there. 100%. I think that's a great thing, and every developer who has that within their remit should focus on doing that for their stories. That's great. But for everyone else who's let me try to remember exactly what Ian said. Something along the lines of it's a skill issue.
Yes.
It's a skill issue. If you don't like it, get fucked.
Ian did say that in the interview, and should be on the table.
Yeah, and I will defend myself by saying that will be a very small part of the community overall who couldn't do it and will be salty about it, as opposed to genuinely trying or genuinely incapable. That's perfectly 100% fine. But
it's like back when it was just that, and it was like, oh yeah, you can't do a heroic dungeon. Well, I guess you just can't progress in that way. At least at that point in time of the game, like its reputations,
Yeah.
like actually took a bit of time.
Yeah.
You know, and the reputations were, across the world, they felt different. There was stuff to do. Whereas what they've done now is they have homogenized everything under anime.
Yep.
Which means it all feels the same.
Ooh,
All
yeah.
reputations feel the same, It's like, oh, this quest gives me rep with this faction, this world quest. But I've not spent time with a character of that faction. I've not seen their unique story in this zone. Yeah, so that's mostly that.